It's getting to be that time again when the low rumble of a coming Nintendo Direct can be heard somewhere off in the distance. We've put a month and change between us and E3 2019, and as we move into the month of August, it begs the question, when will the next Nintendo Direct be? What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Gabe is here, and we have done some excavating, some digging, of the last 2 years of what Nintendo did post E3, and the pattern is obvious, Gabe. They have basically followed the same playbook for both years of Switch, and I bet they follow it again for year 3.
I mean, it's been successful. If a playbook is working for you, you seldomly want to change what you're doing, right?
Unless the players change, but the light isn't here yet, so we're okay. The players are the same, and we know that last 2 years, they did E3, then a game-specific Direct, then a Nindies presentation, and then a full-blown Direct. So common sense says that will kind of be the same plan in 2019. And we're going to go through where we think they'll fall, what we think they'll be, and then eventually that big Direct, what might in fact be there. In 2017, Gabe, Nintendo put on a Splatoon 2 focused Direct on July 6th, and in 2018, they put on a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate focused Direct on August the 8th. Now we are approaching August. We don't have a game-specific Direct. We do have a hero presentation for Smash Bros. DLC, but I feel like they still need a game-centric Direct.
Okay, and they have two big upcoming games that they could easily dedicate a Direct to. Luigis Mansion 3 and Pokemon Sword and Shield. Zach, which one of these two do you think could potentially get a game-specific Direct pretty soon?
Now, I think Pokemon is the more obvious choice, and there is a rumor slash theory that goes alongside this. If you look at the jersey numbers from the Sword and Shield trailers, you'll notice that there is a 65 jersey, which corresponds to the E3 trailer and information on June 5th. There is a 227 jersey, which corresponds to the initial Sword and Shield Direct on February 27th. And then Milo, the gym leader, is wearing an 831 jersey, which, by the way, is a big number.
That is
really...
Yeah,
like...
Milo's a big dude. Like, he's a big dude.
He is. I mean, even pick up basketball with like pennies and stuff, like you don't really ever go that high. But Milo, you're right. He breaks molds, like almost literally. So the theory there is if these numbers continue to correlate, it would be August 31st, which is a little bit late in the cycle as compared to the July 6th and August 8th dates that they used last 2 years. But to me, that is the one that will sort of fit into this game-specific plan.
It's a little bit weird because every new tidbit of information we get for Pokemon, people get more upset by. So I don't know if Nintendo maybe
I'm still so hyped for it.
Yeah, I know, me too. But I don't know if like Nintendo has seen like
they're like cancel the plans.
Yeah, I don't know about cancel, but maybe shift them around. I don't know.
I hope not. I want to know more. I'd love to see some more about the starters. I'd love to get a little bit more nitty-gritty about the story, perhaps, and maybe some more of the version exclusives. We started to really dip our toes into those waters already, but, you know, there's got to be more to talk about. So that's kind of my pick there. I think a Nindies could happen before, though. You know, the last 2 years, the Nindies came after the game-specific Direct, but if they do choose to use that August 31st date, I feel like a Nindies showcase will happen in the week or so leading up, because the last 2 years they've been the 28th and the 30th. It feels like clockwork. It's gonna come around that time.
Okay, would you mind? And doesn't matter if you mind or not. I'm gonna say something blasphemous here, Zach. I think I'm more excited for a Nindies Direct than I would be for either a Luigi's Mansion or Pokemon Direct.
I think that's totally fair. I don't even think that's blasphemous.
Oh, okay, because so many of the games that I've loved this year on Switch are Nindies, right? Katana Zero comes to mind, Ape Out comes to mind. There's like so much stuff that I love. Wargroove I spent a lot of time with. So I know that not everything is a hit as far as the Nindies presentation. Shout out to Morphe's Law. Still trying to...
Hey, Remorph is coming, man.
Yeah, still trying to make splashes out here. Like a good old Magikarp. But yeah, a lot of hits with the indies as well. So I'm very excited to see what they have up their sleeve for the rest of the year and maybe early next year too.
I think that's totally fair because if we're honest, Luigi's Mansion 3 and Sword and Shield are insta-buys no matter what. Like, those games are coming to our console. So getting some more options or some things to kind of decide about or think about would be cool. It's inevitable that we'll get more information on Hollow Knight Silksong. We've got a Dauntless date that is inbound at some point. There are games that they can follow up on from E3, and then perhaps some new titles to fill out the rest of Q3 and then Q4. That would be good to know. After that, though, Gabe, I do think a September Direct is also inevitable. Now, I will alert you, if you don't know, Gabe, Nintendo has some big plans for September 20th, 2019. They're releasing a pretty big game and a pretty big console refresh. So they're going to have to work around that, whether it's much earlier, later maybe, but I think another push for the Lite would make a lot of sense. And if you can just sort of continue to tout the software, that only enhances the allure and excitement of buying that. So I would predict an early September Direct to really get the ball rolling and carry us into the holiday season.
That wouldn't surprise me at all, but another thing that wouldn't surprise me is if it somehow pushes things back. And instead of September, we get a Direct sometime in October or something like that. That doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility for me. I know that Luigi's Mansion is releasing on Halloween, but there is still a lot of month before that where you can focus on a Direct.
Well, I will say that in 2017, they did push a lot of cool stuff. They announced Doom and Wolfenstein 2. Both of these directs, honestly, had a pretty solid third-party focus. But in 2017, it was Doom and Wolfenstein 2. It was very Odyssey-focused. That game was right around the corner. They announced the bundle, the console bundle with the red Joy-Con. They put out a Octopath Traveler demo. They got into the nitty-gritty of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and announced the Pro Controller there. They talked about the Breath of the Wild amiibo. And then in 2018... Civ 6 was mentioned, the whole Final Fantasy Palooza with 7, 9, 10, and 12. They went over the online service. Animal Crossing Town, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, and Luigi's Mansion 3 all got announced. So these are directs that not only recap some of the stuff that was discussed at E3, but really push forward, not only for the rest of the year, but often into the early parts of 2020, or whatever the subsequent calendar is. So I think this direct is honestly like the really exciting one after E3, of course. So I hope it doesn't get pushed too far.
I agree with you. There are two things that I want to call some attention to here. One, Town. Where the hell is it? I hope it comes out
soon. What's been going on?
Yeah,
is it around? Is it still this year?
I think the game still hits this year. I have no reason to believe that, but I'm going to believe that regardless. Okay. And the other thing I wanted to call attention to is the fact that during the September Direct for 2018, they did announce New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for Switch, and that came out, a few months later, early in the year, January, right? Maybe for whatever Direct we get later in the year, they announce a game for January or February or some kind. Something big would obviously be better, but it did well, and it's a Wii U port, so maybe we get another Wii U port of some kind. I asked you, hey, what ports do you think were left, and I'll let you say the ones that you think, but something that I would really, really love, and we've heard that this is a thing for a very long time, and it's not specifically a Wii U port, but Metroid Prime Trilogy is something I would love to see. There's been a lot of attention for Paper Mario recently, thanks to Arlo, so I wanted to throw that out there. What do you think? Do you think that maybe there's a chance that they announce a port of some kind?
It sort of feels like they're done with Wii U ports, but if there was to be one, I would put my money heavily on either 3D World or Pikmin 3. It feels like those are the two tentpole titles that have yet to make the transition, and ones that would garner enough attention to make it worth their while. I think 3D World, building off of the theme in Mario Maker 2 would catch a lot of eyeballs, even though it did sell well on Wii U. Obviously a much bigger install base here on Switch. And then Pikmin 3, since they can't seem to freaking get the Pikmin train rolling, if the only way to do that and start the engine is via a Pikmin 3 port, I'll take it, because that multiplayer is worth having on Switch, and heck, I'll play the campaign again. But you kind of get the 2019 slate out the way, and you got to look ahead, because we don't have really anything ahead except for Breath of the Wild 2, which, it's a debate whether it's in the short-term release calendar or the long-term release calendar, but you need more than that. You can't have that be your game, and there's no way Metroid Prime 4 is ready, so they do we're on the cusp of new announcements one way or another. Whether it's September or October, there's going to be stuff. And I feel like it would be good to get a few more titles in for the rest of the year, whether that be Town or maybe a nice third-party edition. As I mentioned, Civ 6 was announced, and that was a great get for Switch owners, and it paid off for 2K. The previous year was Doom and Wolfenstein 2, so there is room for a notable third-party edition in this post-E3 September-ish Direct. I'm really excited for it. Honestly, for me, it'll probably be a better, bigger show than E3.
Huh. That's interesting, but you're right. I also want to point out that like the rest of the calendar year seems like pretty like lax as far as releases in gaming in general. If we talk outside of Switch, there isn't a lot that we like know about, and maybe it's just gonna be like a slower year just because, you know, next gen is coming and there are companies that are preparing. But there is room for other stuff out there. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. And before you sound the alarm, which I'm sure you've already sounded, we know that Animal Crossing is coming early next year. We know that is coming.
We are aware.
I'm pretty darn sure that game is going to get its own dedicated Direct at some point. Not sure they need to really focus on it or talk about it here in this theoretical September Direct, so I don't think that is a part of it. But yes, we know that's coming. We know that's a big deal alongside Breath of the Wild 2. I guess I'm just thinking more of games that haven't already been discussed for a long time, as Animal Crossing has been for nearly a year now. So it looks like the lineup, Gabe, is going to be Nindies, Pokemon Direct, then a full-on Direct, unless they decide to surprise us. But this is now where we start getting, to me, the real exciting season. We're beyond the Q2 releases. We're into gearing up for the fall, gearing up for the light, gearing up for another Direct. Like, this is the meat and potatoes, I think, for Switch fandom, and like E3 feels like it just ended, and yet to me, like, the real juicy stuff is right around the corner.
Yeah, it's exciting times nonetheless.
Do you have any dream Direct additions, whether it's a secret reveal at the Pokemon Direct, something they throw in the Nindies, or that they save for the big one? Anything that you just really are pulling for?
Metroid Prime Trilogy. I think, like,
yeah.
Where is that? We've heard that it's been like done for a while and that they put it off a bit because of the Prime 4 delay. So that's something that I really want on my Switch. I love the series, and I feel like it's been so long since I played them, they're going to feel so fresh. So that would be my one go-to that I want. For me, it's Mario Sports. Bring it back, baby. I do not count that Sonic and freaking Sega Olympic. I don't like that game at all. Well, we're getting that. I don't like that. So I'm talking Mario Golf, Mario Strikers, Mario Baseball. I'm ready for it. Please give us one of those. I feel like it's time. We're ready. You can announce it for early next year. It'll be a great way to start 2020 off. And I don't know. I freaking love kart. I love tennis aces. They're all great. And I wish that we would get another. So that's my pick. Let us know in the comments down below how you think this is all going to play out. Do you buy into the third year of Nindies game full-on Direct, or do you think they're going to mix it up, kind of like Gabe mentioned, potentially based on that big September month? Or will they just use that as a further way to catapult them into astronomical holiday success? Also, you got a secret wish game that you hope appears at one of these shows. Let us know in the comments down below, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and are pumped for whatever Nintendo has around the corner, because believe you me, something is coming soon, and we'll have you covered. Until that time, though, thanks again. For myself and Gabe, SwitchForce out.